Rylan worked late in his small workshop at the edge of the alien city. The night was quiet except for the soft hum of machines and the gentle tapping of his tools. The lights from the streets outside flickered through the windows, painting the walls with moving colors. Rylan liked the silence. It helped him think, helped him fix things that no one else wanted to repair. He wiped his hands on a cloth and leaned over a half-finished hover bike. He was almost done when he heard something unusual outside, slow metal scraping on stone. It was soft at first, almost easy to ignore, but it grew louder, closer, uneven, like metal struggling to move. Rylan paused and looked toward the door. Before he could speak, the door slid open and a small droid stepped inside. It limped badly, one leg dragging, sparks flickering from its arm. Its glowing eye flickered weakly. The droid tried to straighten itself, but its legs shook and it collapsed onto the floor. Rylan rushed over. "Hey, easy there. Don't move too much." The droid's voice came out low and broken. "Request assistance. Damaged badly." Rylan gently lifted it from the floor and placed it on his repair table. The metal was cold and several plates were cracked. One internal wire was burned completely. Whoever attacked it had been rough. "What happened to you?" Rylan asked, checking its joints. The droid paused. Its voice glitched. "Cannot report. Important mission. Need repair." Rylan nodded. He knew many droids were assigned special tasks, and some were not allowed to share details. He respected that. He never asked questions when someone needed help. Machines, people, aliens, it didn't matter. If something was broken, he fixed it. That was enough. "All right," he said softly. "I'll repair you. But I need to warn you, parts like yours aren't cheap." The droid's light dimmed. "No credits. I have nothing to pay." Rylan looked at the damaged machine, at the cracks, at the effort it took just to speak. Then he shook his head. "That's fine. I'll fix you anyway." The droid's eye brightened for a moment, almost like a spark of gratitude. "Thank you." Rylan began working right away. He replaced the damaged joints with spare parts he normally kept for larger machines. He cleaned the burned wiring and rewired the circuits carefully, making sure the droid's processor stayed stable. As he worked, he noticed strange symbols inside the droid's chest panel. Old royal technology. Rare. Very rare. He froze for a second. Why would a royal-grade unit be alone and damaged like this? Rylan thought about asking, but the droid's eye flickered uncomfortably, so he stayed silent. Whatever this droid was involved in, it was serious. And dangerous. After a few minutes, the droid tried to speak again. "Why? Help? No payment?" Rylan tightened one more screw and shrugged. "Because you needed help. That's enough for me." The droid stayed quiet, processing his words. Rylan could tell it was surprised. Maybe even confused. Many people in the city asked for credits first, kindness second. Humans were rare here and some aliens thought they were strange for caring too much. But Rylan didn't mind. He worked for nearly an hour, fixing every broken part he could see. He tested the joints and watched the droid's legs move smoothly again. He realigned the eye light and made sure its voice processor worked. Slowly, the droid stood up taller, its movements steady and strong. "You're good to go," Rylan said with a small smile. "Just avoid anything that wants to smash you again, all right?" The droid looked at him for a long moment. "You repaired me fully. With no charge. This action is unexpected." Rylan laughed softly. "Just doing my job." The droid stepped back, then bowed its head slightly, almost like a respectful gesture. Its voice was clear now, calm and gentle. "I will remember this. You have done more than you know." Before Rylan could respond, the droid walked toward the door. It paused, looked back once as if trying to understand something about him, then disappeared into the night. Rylan watched it leave, feeling a small warmth in his chest. He liked helping. He liked fixing things. He felt proud knowing he made someone's night a little better, even if that someone was a machine. He cleaned his tools and returned to the hover bike. The night seemed peaceful again. Quiet. Safe. But as he continued working, he kept thinking about the strange symbols inside the droid. Royal symbols. He rarely saw them, and when he did, it was always inside the palace walls or in the hands of high-ranking officials. Why had such a unit come to him? Why alone? Why hiding? Rylan sighed and pushed the thoughts away. "Not my business," he told himself. "I just fix things." Hours passed and he finally locked up the workshop. The streets outside were calm. Nothing felt unusual. No one followed him. No one watched him. Everything seemed normal. But far above, hidden in the shadows of the city towers, a pair of armored figures observed the street where Rylan lived. The glowing symbols on their armor matched the ones inside the droid. They watched quietly, tracking the workshop below. Rylan had no idea he was being noticed. He had no idea his simple kindness had already set something in motion. He had no idea that tonight would be the last quiet night he would have for a long time. As he walked home, he hummed softly, unaware that the droid he saved was more important than he imagined. And somewhere in the dark, the royal guard prepared to descend on his workshop before sunrise. His life was about to change, and he didn't even know it. The night passed slowly after Rylan finished repairing the small silver droid. He tried to rest inside his quiet workshop, but his mind kept returning to the strange message the droid almost said before shutting down. It was only one broken line, but it felt important. He felt something was coming, but he did not know what. Before sunrise, Rylan stepped outside to check the power lines behind his workshop. The air was cool and the sky was still dark blue. He heard no sounds from the village. Everything felt normal, but something in his chest felt heavy. Then he heard a noise. It was low at first, like a whisper. Rylan turned quickly. He saw nothing. He waited for a second. The noise returned, this time louder. It was not from the ground. It came from the sky. Rylan looked up and saw a giant shadow moving across the clouds. At first he thought it was a large ship passing by the trade route, but this one was too low. It was too slow. And it was heading straight toward the village. Rylan stepped back, shocked. His heartbeat rose. The shadow grew bigger. A dark metal cruiser with sharp edges and glowing red lights moved over the rooftops. The engines hummed loudly, heavy and deep. Rylan had never seen this type of ship before. It did not look like a friendly one. He rushed inside and grabbed his old pair of electro-binoculars. When he zoomed in, he saw strange symbols printed on the cruiser's side. They were not from the human colonies. They were not from any known local factions either. The ship belonged to someone unknown. Moments later, the cruiser stopped above the main square and sent down a bright beam of red light. The ground shook. Dust rose into the air. Villagers ran out of their homes shouting in fear. The cruiser made no announcement, gave no warning, and showed no sign of peace. It simply hovered. Rylan felt a cold wave spill through his body. Why was it here? What did it want? His eyes moved to his workshop, where the small silver droid rested quietly on his table. He suddenly felt a strong suspicion. Could the droid and the cruiser be connected? He started walking back toward the workshop, but stopped halfway as the red beam slowly began to shift. This time it pointed at the workshop itself. Rylan froze. The light grew brighter. A mechanical sound echoed from inside the cruiser. It sounded like heavy doors opening. Something was coming down. Rylan rushed inside and went straight to the droid. The small machine powered on again, weak and flickering. Its single blue eye shined with fear. It looked at Rylan as if it wanted to speak but did not know how. "It's okay," Rylan whispered. "Just tell me what's happening." The droid shook. It projected a broken hologram above its head. The picture was unclear, but Rylan saw the shape of a large emblem. The same emblem printed on the cruiser outside. Then a weak robotic voice stuttered. "Danger. Cannot allow. Capture. Must not. Return." Rylan's hands grew cold. Capture? Return? Did this droid escape from them? Did it belong to the hostile group on the cruiser? So, that meant they were here for one thing. Him. Rylan repaired it. Rylan gave it shelter. And now the cruiser's crew wanted it back. The droid suddenly grabbed Rylan's sleeve with its small metal arm. "Hide. Must hide," it pleaded in a trembling voice. Before Rylan could move, a loud blast shook the workshop. Wooden planks fell from the ceiling. Sparks jumped from the power lines. Rylan grabbed the droid and rolled behind his workbench. The door burst open. 3 tall figures entered. Their armor was dark, smooth and shaped like insect shells. Their helmets had narrow red visors that glowed like angry eyes. They scanned the room slowly. Rylan held his breath. The droid stayed still in his arms, trying not to make a sound. The first armored soldier stepped closer and spoke in a cold, deep voice. "The runaway unit is detected inside. Locate it. Do not damage the human unless necessary." Rylan pressed a hand over the droid's head, trying to steady it. He needed to think fast. He saw one tool on the bench, a pulse wrench. It was not a weapon, but it could create a burst of energy strong enough to push someone back for a few seconds. That might be enough to run. The soldier moved closer. Rylan grabbed the wrench and powered it on. The humming grew louder and brighter. The soldier turned sharply toward the noise. Before it could grab him, Rylan aimed the wrench and fired. A bright wave shot out. The soldier flew back and crashed into the wall. The other 2 raised their weapons. Rylan dashed to the back door carrying the droid, but the soldiers fired energy shots that hit the ground near him. Heat burned his arm. He stumbled but kept running. He burst out the back door, sprinting across the alley. The cruiser above shifted its red beam again, now following him. The village was in chaos. People ran in all directions. Some shouted his name, asking what he had done. But Rylan did not have time to answer. He reached a storage shed and hid behind it. The droid's voice shook. "They will not stop. They will take me, and they will take you." Rylan took a slow breath. He looked up at the cruiser. He saw new soldiers descending from its belly, armed and fast. They were spreading out. "They're not taking either of us," Rylan said quietly. Even though he was just a mechanic, even though he had no combat skills, he felt something else rise in him. A stubborn decision. He had helped the droid out of kindness. Now he would protect it out of responsibility. He tightened his grip on the small machine as the sound of approaching boots grew louder. He knew this night was only the beginning. Rylan ran through the dark alleys of the city, carrying the small silver droid in his arms. The sound of boots and energy weapons echoed behind him. He darted between walls, ducked under pipes, and jumped over crates trying to find a place to hide. The droid's eye flickered weakly and its voice stammered as it spoke. "They cannot allow capture. Must not return." Rylan kept moving, his mind racing. The soldiers chasing him were too many, too fast, and too well armed. There was no way he could fight them directly. He needed a plan. His workshop was no longer safe, and the alleys only led to dead ends. Then he remembered the old elevator shaft near the abandoned warehouse. It was hidden behind a rusted door and led down into the maintenance tunnels of the city. Only someone familiar with the city could find it easily. Rylan made a quick decision and ran toward the location, weaving through shadows and avoiding patrol drones. He reached the rusted door and pushed it open. The elevator shaft creaked loudly, but no one seemed to notice. Rylan climbed inside carefully, holding the droid close. The droid shivered slightly, its circuit still weak. "Almost there," it whispered. Rylan pressed a button and the elevator descended slowly into darkness. The sound of the guards above grew distant. For a moment, Rylan allowed himself to breathe. "Who are you really?" he asked. "Why are they after you?" The droid hesitated. Its eye flickered dimly, then brighter again. "I am not simple droid. I am companion to the heir of the royal family, disguised for safety. Mission failed, damaged, escaped." Rylan's eyes widened. "The royal family? You're a royal companion droid." "Yes, royal, advanced unit, must not return, captured, fate, dangerous, you helped, saved me." Rylan felt a chill run down his spine. He had just fixed a piece of royal technology, something forbidden for ordinary humans to touch, and now the droid was telling him the truth. The entire chase made sense. The guards, the red lights, the unknown soldiers. They were not here for destruction. They were here to retrieve their heir's companion. Rylan took a deep breath. "Okay, we need to hide you until this is over." The droid projected a small hologram from its chest, showing the royal palace and the surrounding city. "They search all exits, will not stop, must hide now." Rylan examined the map. He recognized a series of maintenance tunnels that led under the city and eventually to an abandoned royal storage facility. If they could reach it, they could have a safe place to wait, at least temporarily. "Follow me," he whispered. "I know a way." The elevator reached the bottom of the shaft, and Rylan climbed out into the dim maintenance tunnels. He moved quickly, staying close to the walls and avoiding stray surveillance drones. The droid floated beside him, its thrusters flickering weakly. It was small but heavy, and Rylan struggled to keep up a fast pace. As they moved through the tunnels, the droid spoke again. "You, human, different, kindness, unexpected, trust." Rylan smiled faintly, though he was still tense. "I fix things. I help. That's all. But helping saved my life." "Skilled human," the droid said, its voice almost reverent. Rylan shook his head. "You're making me sound important. I'm just trying to survive right now." They reached a ladder that led up into an old storage area, hidden from the main streets. Rylan climbed first, then helped the droid up. The room was dark, filled with crates, barrels, and old machinery. Dust floated in the air. It was safe, at least for now. Rylan set the droid down carefully. "Here you'll be safe for a while. They won't find you here immediately." The droid's eye glowed faintly, and it extended a small arm toward him. Much to must explain later?" Rylan nodded. "I want to know everything. But first we wait. Hours passed. The droid remained powered but still weak. Rylan scavenged some old tools and spare parts from the storage room and repaired a few of its damaged circuits. He noticed that the droid's body was built with materials humans rarely used, lightweight but nearly indestructible. Its processors were unlike anything he had worked on before, intelligent, adaptable, and fast. Finally, the sounds of pursuit grew louder above the city. Rylan peeked through a small crack in the storage wall. Soldiers in dark armor moved carefully, scanning every street and building. It was clear they were looking for the droid. The human mechanic realized how dangerous it had been to help it. One wrong step and both of them could have been captured, or worse. The droid spoke again. They seek, capture, humans, dangerous, must, warn, king. Rylan frowned. You want me to take you to the king? Yes, skilled, unusual, human, saved, critical, a must meet. Rylan understood. The royal family did not just need the droid back, they wanted to see him. They had noticed his skill, his ability to repair something that even royal engineers could not. And now the chase had made him part of the story. He nodded. All right, we'll do it. But we need a plan. We can't just walk into the palace while soldiers are hunting us. The droid projected a small map again. Underground, old service tunnels, secret entrance. You follow carefully, humans, able? Rylan studied the map, then looked at the droid. You've got strange faith in humans? You, different, capable, help, not selfish. Rylan smiled faintly. I guess that counts for something. Together they planned their escape through the hidden tunnels. They would move under the city, avoiding patrols, and reach the secret royal entrance without being detected. The droid, weak but functional, would lead the way using its internal sensors. Rylan would protect it with anything he could improvise along the route. The night stretched on. The city above was filled with searchlights, patrolling drones, and heavy boots. But beneath the streets, in the darkness of the old tunnels, a human mechanic and a royal companion droid moved carefully. They were both scared but both determined. The first human to touch a piece of royal technology was now on a path that would change his life forever. And for the first time, Rylan realized that helping someone, even a machine, could lead to far bigger consequences than he ever imagined. Rylan moved carefully through the narrow tunnels beneath the city, the small silver droid floating beside him. The air smelled of dust, rust, and old machinery, and the dim lights on the walls barely lit their path. Every sound above, the heavy boots, the humming cruisers, the distant alarms, reminded him that the royal guard was still searching for them. This way, the droid whispered, projecting a faint blue light from its chest. The light created shadows along the walls, guiding Rylan through the maze of pipes and old storage rooms. Rylan's mind raced. He was just a mechanic, not a soldier, but he had something most of the guards above did not: creativity. While they relied on brute force, he relied on thinking differently. That might be the only way to keep them alive. They reached a junction. The droid projected a map showing two routes, one short but crowded with patrol drones and another longer path through old maintenance shafts. Rylan frowned. We'll take the longer one. The others are too fast. I need time to think if we run into trouble. The droid nodded, then added, caution, humans, clever. Rylan smiled faintly. Thanks. I hope my cleverness is enough tonight. They continued down the tunnel. Suddenly, a series of warning lights flashed on the droid's chest. Sensors detected movement above. The royal guard was almost on top of them. Rylan pressed against the wall, keeping the droid close. They waited as shadowy figures moved along the surface above, their boots echoing through the tunnels. Rylan thought quickly. He spotted an old maintenance control panel. With a few quick adjustments, he could trigger the tunnel's emergency doors to close temporarily. That would slow the guards and give them more time to escape. Hold on, he whispered. He opened the panel, rewired a few circuits, and pressed the emergency override. Metal doors clanged above and below, cutting off sections of the tunnel. The guards' movements slowed, their drones blocked by the doors. Nice thinking, the droid said, its single eye blinking in approval. Rylan nodded, but there was no time to celebrate. They still had a long path ahead. As they moved forward, he noticed old surveillance cameras along the walls. Most were offline, but a few still had power. He carefully disabled them using a makeshift signal jammer from his toolkit. Each camera he shut down reduced the risk of being detected. Hours passed as they navigated twists and turns. Rylan led the droid through narrow passages, under rusted piping and around forgotten machinery. The tunnels were dangerous. Rusted metal could collapse, old wires could spark, and the air was thick in some places. But he knew every step of the city's underground from years of exploration. Finally, they reached a large metal door at the end of the tunnel. The droid's sensors lit up. Secret royal entrance. Proceed carefully. Rylan examined the lock. It was advanced, with a mixture of biometric scanners and encrypted keypads. He smiled. This was exactly the kind of challenge he loved. He worked quickly, using a combination of mechanical tools, hacking software, and pure human intuition. Minutes passed. Sparks flew. Alarms buzzed softly, then died. Rylan's fingers moved deftly across the controls. He bypassed the sensors using patterns the AI droid could not even predict. Finally, the lock clicked and the massive door slowly opened. Inside, the royal palace corridors were dim and silent. They had entered a secure wing few humans ever saw. Rylan carried the droid carefully, moving as quietly as possible. "We are close," the droid whispered. Safe, must reach." Rylan nodded. He felt a strange mix of fear and excitement. They were in enemy territory, but he had made it this far. He had survived with nothing but his mind and his hands. Suddenly, a mechanical hum echoed behind them. A patrol of guards had found a secondary entrance. Rylan froze. There was no time to fight directly. He looked around and noticed loose pipes above and a pile of old maintenance crates. "Follow me," he whispered. He pushed the crates down, creating a temporary barrier. Sparks flew as a drone above tried to scan them. Rylan grabbed a small control panel and sent a pulse of electricity through the pipes. The drone short-circuited and dropped to the floor. The guards below cursed and tried to follow, but the makeshift trap had slowed them. Rylan led the droid further down the corridor, using every shortcut and hidden passage he knew. His mechanical skill and human intuition were unmatched. The guards were fast, but Rylan's cleverness and knowledge of the city's hidden paths kept them ahead. Finally, they reached a large hall where the air waited. The royal AI droid projected a message ahead. A young member of the royal family, disguised in civilian clothing, stepped forward. "You fixed him?" the heir asked, voice trembling with surprise. Rylan nodded. "I didn't know he belonged to royalty." The heir smiled faintly. "You saved him. You saved me. Most humans would have run or worse, tried to profit. But you helped." Rylan shrugged. "I fixed things. That's all." "No," the heir said firmly. "It's more than that. Humans, your kind, you see value in things that others don't. You see potential. You see life." The droid floated forward, its eye blinking rapidly. "Saved, critical, must recognize human skill, protect, together." Rylan realized the magnitude of what he had done. By simply repairing the droid, he had earned the trust of the royal family, survived an entire squad of elite guards, and proven that human creativity and patience could surpass brute force. The heir gestured for him to follow. "Come. The palace will explain everything. And you will be recognized for what you did." Rylan felt a strange pride. He had always seen himself as just a mechanic, someone who repaired broken things. But tonight, his skills had mattered more than he ever imagined. Not just machines but lives. As they walked toward the palace core, Rylan knew that this was only the beginning. He had survived because he thought differently, acted quickly, and trusted his human instincts. The royal guard had underestimated him. The city had underestimated him. But humans could be clever, determined, and brave in ways even advanced alien technology could not predict. The night was still dark outside, but inside the palace, a new chapter had begun. Rylan, a simple mechanic, had proven that humans could change the fate of the royal family with skill, courage, and ingenuity. And somewhere in the shadows, the royal guard who had chased him hours ago realized that capturing a human was not enough. They could not match the creativity, patience, and cleverness that a single mechanic had used to protect what mattered most. The palace, the droid, and the heir now depended on him. And Rylan understood that his life would never be simple again. Rylan followed the young heir and the silver droid through the palace corridors. The walls were lined with glowing panels and strange alien symbols. Guards and palace workers hurried past, keeping their distance. Rylan noticed that everyone here moved with purpose, yet there was tension in the air. Something had changed in the city and he could feel it. The heir led him to a large chamber at the heart of the palace. At the center sat the king, tall and imposing, with a calm, commanding presence. The royal AI droid floated beside the throne, its single glowing eye blinking rapidly as it observed Rylan. The king looked at Rylan carefully. "You are the human who repaired my companion," he said in a deep voice. "Is that correct?" Rylan bowed slightly. "Yes, your majesty." I didn't know it belonged to the royal family. I only saw it broken and in need of help. The king studied him for a long moment. Then slowly he nodded. Few humans act without thought of profit or reward. You repaired this unit for nothing. You showed patience, skill, and courage. And because of that, both you and this droid survived the night. Rylan felt his heart beat faster. He had never received praise like this before. I just did what I could, he said quietly. The king gestured to the AI droid. Explain to him what happened after it left his workshop. The droid projected a small hologram showing the chase, the guards, the cruisers, and the patrols. It detailed how Rylan's quick thinking, knowledge of the tunnels, and mechanical skill allowed them to escape capture and reach the palace safely. Rylan watched the hologram, feeling a mix of pride and disbelief. He had always been a simple mechanic, fixing broken machines in his small workshop. He had never imagined that repairing a droid could change the course of an entire royal family's security. The king turned back to him. Your skills are rare. Your kind is often underestimated. But today you have shown that humans can solve problems in ways others cannot. You see patterns, think creatively, and act with courage. That is why you are here. Rylan's mind raced. He had expected some thanks, maybe a reward, but this was something different. The heir stepped forward. We owe you our lives. Not just the droid but my safety as well. You used your skills to protect what mattered. Humans, your kind, you see value that others ignore. That is why we want you to stay. Rylan shook his head. I don't belong here. I'm just a mechanic. I fix machines. That's all. The king smiled slightly. You are more than that. You are a human. And humans have abilities that no machine or alien can fully replicate. They think, they adapt, they create. That is why we need you. You will be the first human royal engineer. Your role is to protect, repair, and innovate. You will work with the royal family, with our AI systems, and with the palace security. And your kind will finally be recognized for what you are capable of. Rylan felt a strange pride rising inside him. For years, humans had been underestimated, seen as weak or inferior. Yet here in the royal palace, his skills had proven their worth. One human could change the course of events, could protect lives, could earn the trust of a royal family. He looked at the silver droid, now floating proudly beside him. Its eye glowed warmly. Saved, human, recognized, value, it said softly. Rylan nodded. I guess we both did our part. The king spoke again. The city will know that humans can be trusted, that their skills are valuable. You will set an example. Others will follow your lead. Rylan felt the weight of responsibility. He was still just a mechanic at heart, but now he had a purpose larger than any workshop could provide. He would use his knowledge, creativity, and human ingenuity to protect lives, solve problems, and prove that his kind could make a difference. Over the next few weeks, Rylan adapted to his new role. He worked closely with the royal AI systems, repaired damaged machines, and designed new security protocols. Every day he solved problems that machines alone could not handle, using intuition, logic, and creativity. The palace guards began to respect him, the staff began to trust him, and the droid stayed by his side, a loyal companion and guide. One evening the young heir approached him. Do you ever regret helping that droid? They asked quietly. Rylan smiled. Never. That droid brought me here. It trusted me and I trusted it. And now, look at what's happened. Humans can do more than anyone thought. That's worth everything. The heir nodded. You're teaching us that humans are capable, clever, and brave. And not just humans, anyone who values kindness and skill can make a difference. Rylan looked out over the city from the palace balcony. The streets were peaceful now, the cruisers gone, the guards alert but calm. The city had changed too. Humans were no longer just helpers or laborers, they were respected, valued, and trusted. The silver droid floated beside him, its eye glowing softly in the moonlight. Alliance, humans, valued, future, it said. Yes, Rylan replied. A new future. One where humans can protect, create, and make a difference. Not with brute force but with skill, courage, and patience. That night, for the first time, Rylan felt the full weight of possibility. One simple act, repairing a broken droid, had changed his life, saved lives, and proven that humans were capable of far more than the galaxy had believed. The palace was quiet, the city calm, and the royal family now knew that a single human mechanic could shape the future. Rylan realized that humans, often underestimated, had a unique strength. The ability to see solutions, act with creativity, and inspire trust. He turned to the droid. We did it, friend. We made a difference. The droid's eye blinked in approval. Yes, humans capable, hope. And for the first time, Rylan understood the truth. Being human was more than just survival. It was about courage, intelligence, kindness, and the ability to change the world one small act at a time. From that night on, Rylan was no longer just a mechanic. He was a symbol of human ingenuity and trust, the first human royal engineer, and the living proof that humans could be more than anyone had ever imagined. The city slept peacefully under the stars, unaware that one human had changed the course of history. And above it all, Rylan stood ready for whatever came next, knowing that humans, clever, creative, and brave, would always find a way to make a difference.